Welcome back to the Weitzypod. It is July 11th. It is shortly after noon. We're talking Wimbledon today. This whole week there has been Wimbledon competition, and today were the two semifinal matches for the men's side. And fresh off of making the Wimbledon finals after he beat Taylor Fritz today in 4 sets, it's an honor to be joined by Carlos Alcaraz today. How
That
are
got
you,
me.
bro? How are you
Oh,
feeling after that win?
uh, good, Mats. Good, Mats. That's how he talks. He's like, yeah, it's good. It's
We
good to beat American Taylor Fritz. Gonna go to Ibiza and play golf. That's apparently what Carlos does. So yeah,
Okay, that sounds good. No, we have Karan with us, which I'm even more excited about. I know you've been following Wimbledon closely. How's the tournament been for you so far? And actually, what is your favorite Grand Slam to watch?
yeah. No, this is definitely one of my favorites to watch. I always like watching Wimbledon and the U.S. Open. I guess just US Open biased. And now that I live in New York, I went there for the first time last year and watched some like free practice rounds. And I saw Carlos really
Hmm,
close. And then I went to a game with our mutual friend from high school, JK. We were fresh off a soccer tournament. He just woke up and said he wants to go to the US Open. And um, we just bought tickets that day and went for like quarterfinals matches. It was pretty cool.
that's
But yeah,
sweet.
but I like Wimbledon a lot. Especially being a huge Roger Federer fan and his like dominance of the tournament. So
Yeah, nice. Yeah, I was gonna say back to you looking like Carlos Alcaraz. I was thinking, I'm sure there's some people in New York around the U.S. Open time that had to do a double take when they saw you out there. Um,
yeah, yeah, people for sure. People that I it's more people that I know. Like people that I know will suddenly be watching and they'll be like, I mean, I don't see it that much, I guess, but I can't see myself. So um I think our head shapes are the same. The back of like my occiput is similar to his. I think we have some similar
got a little
features.
facial hair.
Yeah, yeah, he kind of looks like me, or we look like each other, in certain scenarios, especially when I didn't have my. He's growing some facial hair now. When I was clean shaven, and like my kind of brow is furrowed, then it kind of we look the same. I mean, it's tough because I can't argue with my mom, who is my creator, is the one who said first said that I look like him, and my dad was like, no, I don't see it, but it's an honor, obviously, to be compared to who's one of the top two. I mean, he's just racking up like he's on pace to be one of the like same level as those three goats. So
Yeah, we're gonna get into that, dude. He's won 24 matches in a row now.
yeah.
But I wanted to ask in this tournament so far, we're gonna get into the semifinal matchups that happened today. But were there any matches that stood out to you earlier in the tournament? I know that you were rooting for Ben Shelton a little bit.
Yeah.
Anything that stood out?
Yeah, I mean, like I said, I just find it exciting to watch Ben Shelton. He's kind of like an imperfect person and an imperfect player, so but he's definitely rising up and he's pretty much the same age as Carlos and Sinner, but obviously they've had just like unreal like all otherworldly rises not really expected to like progress that much. If you think about the level that Ben Shelton's playing at, it's really high. He's a really good player, and
Yeah.
um, but yeah, I definitely was following his tournament, and I thought he played well against Sonego. Um, I think that he has the potential to beat Sinner and Alcaraz, but it's just lacking some mental work, which obviously I, having played tennis at a much like a thousand times lower level and not having the mental strength to continue can definitely see like it's just so tough. So I think he has potential for sure. Yeah, but well, how
Yeah,
about you? Who did you enjoy watching?
he does have potential. He has I mean, he's a rocket of a serve, and forehand as well. It looked like his backhand was a little bit shaky, in some of these matches, and I can imagine if you're facing off against two other people like Alcaraz or Sinner who are just they don't make many mistakes, and you aren't able to like get one over on them. It's pro you your mental strength has to be like almost perfect fit to be able to beat them. But a match that stood out to me was actually the one before the Shelton and Sinner match was Sinner and Dimitrov because Dimitrov was up 2 sets to love on Sinner, and it you could tell like Sinner was something on his right arm was bothering him. I think multiple things. His elbow and his wrist were kind of were seemingly bothering him. He was shaking it out after points, and he was down 2 sets to love. Like I don't know the last time he's been in that position, but Dimitrov had all the momentum. The crowd was behind him. He was playing super well. And then I think it's like the combination of two plays really just like got him. I didn't really know this about him, but he apparently has had to retire out of the last 5 Grand Slams that he's been a part of. And he went to like a back single hand backhand, like a slice. And for some reason that like made him grab his pec. And then the next point he tried to serve and he came down and he just immediately sat on the ground and was like clutching at his right pec. And it was heartbreaking because they did like a little special on him between sets about like how much he's worked so hard and how he's a little older, but he's still playing well and he's optimistic and all this stuff. And he's up 2-0 on Sinner, and then he has to retire, and is unable to continue. And that was I think a big turning point because it didn't look like Sinner was going to win that match. And who knows, Ben Shelton might have had a better chance against Dimitrov and the whole tournament would have looked different. But that stood out to me. Felt my heart goes out to him. And yeah,
It was so sad. I was watching that live and just jumping up and down. Like I was like, Dimitrov is cooking. Like he's destroying this guy. Like,
yeah,
whenever, I mean, the way that these guys work, like, nicks and knacks will come, like different like knocks and stuff from, even though it's a non-contact sport, but you know, depending on your mental state, it really seems like that, you can, if you're doing well, then you can overcome. You're not really thinking about your injuries. You're just like, yeah, I'm vibing, I'm vibing. But then
yeah.
anytime you're trying to get into a hole, then other things just start like standing out more to you. So, I mean, Sinners obviously was hurt a bit, but clearly he played fine today. And I really think that Dimitrov just got in his head, like, and he
Mm,
was just destroying him. It was awesome. Like,
yeah,
Sinners was like had barely dropped any like sets or games in the last like few like French Open leading into this, right?
yeah.
So clearly he's in form and um has mentally gotten over for them like at least to get to the Wimbledon final. He's gotten been able to play well enough to like sorry, he was in the French Open final and lost it after being championship points a few times. A lot of people think that he would not be able to recover from that, but he's very strong obviously mentally and came back. But Dimitrov, man, like just like you said, those 2 points, like he's served maybe once on the pack. I can't remember, and then it like you said that thing happened, and then the second time, I can just imagine. I just felt so bad imagining it. It was just like I don't know, like what are you supposed to do there? Like he obviously thought it was okay, and he just was like, yeah, I'm just gonna go through this, and then boom. I mean, like you said, he said such horrible luck, and he definitely deserves a lot more. So.
It's just always scary when a player, any sport, like we saw this in basketball too, when they have like something small but you continue to play on it and it just turns into something way bigger, like Tyrese with his calf. I was scared today for Novak with his like the spill that he took in the last match and playing on that, and like hopefully it doesn't turn into something bigger. But yeah, just to tear your pec while you're playing tennis is something I haven't heard of before, but it makes sense. Like you're so much of your power is coming from that with the one hand you play with.
Right.
Yeah. Well, let's talk about the matches that happened today. Um, the first one, Carlos Alcaraz and Taylor Fritz. This was a 4-set match. Probably should have been a 3-set match. But I'm curious from your perspective because Taylor Fritz is serving this ball at 140 miles an hour, and even playing with you recently, like last week, or it was on Saturday. You serve your serve at me, which is certainly not 140 miles an hour, but it was fast. And I was like, dude, my instinct kicked in just trying to get out of the way. He's serving this thing probably 50 miles an hour faster or 40.
Yeah,
And
50, probably 50 miles an hour faster.
yeah, and I'm just thinking like how Carlos didn't have that big of a problem with it. Like maybe that was the only advantage that Fritz had over him. But Carlos is able to handle it in 4 sets. And what did you see from him today?
This is gonna be an interesting conversation because I have a slightly different view. I thought Taylor Fritz could have won that match. Like,
Hmm.
uh, he was playing really well. I think he has some really tough early games or matches in the tournament. I wasn't following his whole tournament, but I saw the early ones. He had some five setters. He played like a guy who was basically a taller, stronger version of himself,
Hmm.
who served like 145 plus constantly. And you'd see how Taylor returns that. It's just like when you and I were playing the other day, it was just like you just gotta like you had some good returns against the fast serve at some point, and it was just like yeah, you just gotta just get it back, and it's so fast, it'll come pretty fast back. So,
Yeah.
I mean, yeah, you may have you're an earlier riser than me. You may have woken up for the Wimbledon. I only watched the second half of the Fritz Alcaraz match, but from what I saw, I went back and saw I was while the match was going on, I went back and looked at the other points that had gone on. I don't know. Taylor Fritz was to me looking like his equal or and could have been the stronger player. His backhand, I haven't really watched him that much as a player. I rooted for him obviously when he made it to the finals once and I want the American players to do well. It's just more fun when they are doing well for the sport in my opinion. But like I said, Ben Shelton was my pick. But then Taylor Fritz quietly is just thrashing people and like
Yeah.
it's just rare for me to see people whose backhand seems stronger than their forehand. It's either equal or the forehand might be stronger, but
Hmm.
his backhand set up so many crazy points and wins against Alcaraz, either down the line and cross court. So um, yeah,
Yeah.
he was up against him in the fourth set tiebreak too. He should have gone to five sets. But that's my take. Yeah.
Well, it's interesting you bring that up. That's where I was going next. Is to your point of Fritz could have won this match. Is it's well, the one thing I love, or one of the things I love about tennis is that the momentum swings happen so frequently, and it's not like basketball or soccer where the time runs out and whoever's ahead wins. Like you need to cross a certain threshold to win the match, and that fourth set tiebreak was such a display of the momentum shifting, because it first started off, it was 4-1 Alcaraz.
Mhm.
Alcaraz looks, he's looking up at his box, he's doing his vamos. And then Fritz is like, they just have the camera on his face, and he's just like, damn, like you felt like you could see in his eyes, like this was slipping away from him. And then the guy wins the next 5 points, and it's 6-4 Fritz. And Alcaraz is like, oh my gosh, I just got blitzed. Like, what's going on? And Fritz has two set points. And then Carlos like handles both of those, and he ends up winning 8-6 in the tiebreak. But it went from Carlos is going to win the match to, oh shit, Fritz might steal this set, and that makes it 2-2, and he has the momentum going into the fifth. What does that do to Carlos's mind? And then it just swung back to Carlos. But um, yeah, I was impressed by Fritz today. It felt like though Carlos just had more variety to his game. I just see him like, especially at the net, like Carlos is playing such good offense and such good defense at the net, and Fritz it just felt like he needs to go big or go home. But yeah, dude, he's a heck of a player. He's just playing against arguably the best player in the world.
For sure. I mean, yeah, Carlos, the other thing I was gonna say was like both Carlos and Sinner at different times have looked beatable, right? Like
Yeah.
Dimitrov is running the court with Sinner. Carlos drops sets most matches and he managed to win, but he wins when he wins to me, it doesn't feel like a complete domination. It feels like just very like smart. He's a very smart game manager in this tournament. It's his tournament to win. He like has the momentum of uh last three appearances there he's won, or this is his third time. I guess he could go for the three-peat. But yeah, he's just very confident. He's a young guy, he clearly loves the sport, and is extremely mentally tough. I mean, like you said in the Fritz tiebreak, you could look at his face like when he was down, and I thought, wow, like let's just see what happens here really quickly, then because that's just gonna be like really telling for the match where I was looking at his face and he just looked very like he looked very like just kind of he was trying to have a short memory basically and just kind of be like he didn't look like supreme. His body language didn't look supremely confident, but he looked like he was calming himself down and just gonna get the ball in. And he did that
Yeah.
twice, and he was able to get back into it. So yeah, it was just interesting to see that. But before we get into the final matchup, I think you wanted to talk about maybe Novak and Sinner.
Yeah, let's talk about this match real quick. I think it's a bit more straightforward. Novak Djokovic, he hurt himself in the last match against that Italian guy, Kobali, I think his name was.
Hmm.
Um, and he was moving to the right and tried to step left, and his foot slipped, and it caused him to collapse with his weight onto his left hip, and kind of his whole body put had its weight on his left hip there, and he was down for a little bit. And it was clear today that he just wasn't looking 100%. This was going to be the first match that I was going to watch in completion of Novak's for this tournament. And yeah, he just wasn't moving well. Like he was staying in the middle of the court. He didn't want to really push off so fast. He wasn't in full sprint, just not able to move and change direction very easily. And it just looked like Sinner was kind of in cruise control, being able to just play a long rally. And at some point, he was going to get an angle on Djokovic. And anytime the points went long, the ch Sinner's chances of winning them went up significantly. Um, there was one one time in the third set where Djokovic had some momentum. He had a little bit of fight to him where he broke Sinner early and he was up 3-0 in the third set. And we're thinking, okay, like, are we going to see him come to form a little bit? But then Sinner won the next four games, and it was just the outcome became pretty obvious very quickly, and it just didn't feel like Djokovic pushed Sinner to even have to step up his game. But what did you see in this match?
No, exactly what you said. I saw the when he played Kabali, the injury. I didn't think that maybe maybe that is the same injury that was hampering him. I'm sure it must be that. That would make the most sense. All I knew was just that this guy didn't seem like 100% at all. I mean, he didn't even seem like 60%. Like he was just kind of like, you know. But the thing is, I don't know if it's a mind game he plays or it's truly how he feels, but he's at a level where, his mental game is so strong that he's able to even to the opponent. Sometimes it's always been a younger crowd, right? Since the other people have retired and
Yeah.
um in the last maybe 5 years for him, he's always been playing much younger guys. So, you know, he will just kind of show his emotions a bit more or almost like play act and seem like he's more injured than he is. And then
Mm,
he comes from behind and it kind of, in my opinion, affects the other guy mentally. It's like, wow, this guy looked like he was just down in the dumps. He's just messing with them, I think. That's my theory. And then obviously he's feeling it to some level, but like, he does it all the time. And usually they would in tennis when they would coach us, they would say like you want to show your positive body language and this and that. Obviously, anything that the opponent sees, it's such a mental game that, they can use that as fuel. But clearly, he doesn't. He operates on a different level, and I thought maybe when he was coming back 3-0, it's that he was just so hampered. It didn't seem like it was going to be likely. But I thought they're still giving him that was like his kind of push to come back for a bit and push through the like rise above the injury or whatever he was feeling. He does that often, but yeah,
yeah.
everything else, that's the only real addition I had to say. I mean, I agree with everything else you said. Yeah, that's what I saw.
Yeah, the only advantage that it seemed he had was a few of his first serves were really good, like
Yeah,
well placed and really fast, and Sinner just wasn't able to even return some of them.
yeah.
But this leads into kind of a different topic. Novak is 38. We might have seen his last match at Wimbledon today. And the topic we wanted to discuss was the end of the GOAT era and the ushering in of the new guys, the new generation. And I'll give you the floor, but just want to call out a Charles Barkley quote: "Them young boys coming."
Yes, indeed, they are coming. I wasn't sure. I mean, no one knew what was going to happen, and we still don't know. I mean, about the consistency and the ability to win, and like for a small number of players to dominate all of the majors, just like Roger, Rafa, and Novak did for 25 years or 20 years. But
So crazy, dude.
Before that was like a forgotten era of really good players, like who never were that consistent or that disciplined, but like Marat Safin and Leighton Hewitt, who was like
Leighton
considered a
Hewitt.
brat, but like
Big
Roger
Roddy.
Roger straddled like two or three different eras. Like Novak and Rafa came in during the Roger era, and then the goal was always to dethrone him. And you had like so many good players come along and not win as a byproduct of being part of that era. Like if they were in another era, Juan Martín del Potro, I guess won. Marin Cilic won maybe once. Uh, he was cooking this tournament too. I was loving it. He was setting the young boys down. It just makes these sometimes when they're just playing their game and just it's crazy. But yeah, so many players, Songa, fell
Yeah.
by the weight, like far short of their potential given the fact that these other guys were dominating so much. But
Monfils.
yeah, Monfils. But now it's like what you're like. Do we see another Safin like Hewitt vibe era, an in between era? It doesn't seem like that as much. It seems like the young guys are. I mean, Alcaraz is even though he wins a lot, sometimes you want to see different stuff. Like he still is my favorite. But I really want the Americans to do well. It's the first time that there's four Americans who are like capable of getting to the quarters or semis every time at least,
Yeah.
if not the finals. And Tommy Paul and I think they're waiting for the hard court because they kind of do better on the hard court. But Tommy Paul and Tiafoe might show up better in the U.S. Open, and Taylor Fritz and Shelton are the ones who clearly have risen to
Hmm.
the top a bit more. Alcaraz and Sinner leading the way. I guess it was interesting because there was a time it's still uncertain. It was more uncertain when like Rafa and like a few years ago when Alcaraz and Sinner just came on. No
Hmm.
one had solidified their place as the top one and two of being mental and just kind of like mentally strong and able to perform consistently. Now these two guys, you can say at least the last 5 to 8 majors, like they've been the standouts. But
Yeah.
Novak's still there. The body is clearly starting to fail him a little bit, but because he said French Open, he wasn't able to like do as much as he wanted. Wimbledon, it seems like he'll kind of maybe pick and choose his majors now, which he was doing even when he had a period of injuries before too. Him and Rafa were doing that, but they still managed to keep playing. But yeah,
Yeah.
I don't know. It's up to him to see how much he actually wants it anymore, and if his body feels like he wants to like keep pushing it. Yeah.
Yeah. Dude, he's 38 years old and he's still so much better than I was gonna say so much better than the field. Like Alcaraz and Sinner, I think are clearly one and two, but Djokovic is still up there in like the top five. And he's a decade older than a lot of these guys, maybe more. And it's just a testament to his um, I think what you said, mental strength, and then also how he takes care of his body and just his skill and how good he is at the game. It's crazy, and it's sad to think that like I'm holding on to him as the last piece of the GOAT era. Like I loved Roger and I loved Rafael Nadal. Always had to watch them when they played. And then Djokovic joined that party, and now he's the last one remaining. But I didn't think it would come so quickly that there would be two players like Alcaraz and Sinner who have cemented themselves, I'd say, as the top two in the world. I think they're going to keep these spots. Like they're both getting better. And I only say that because they say that in their post game like chats that they give on the court. Sinner's saying like I'm growing as a player, and Carlos is saying I was really happy with how I handled this today. Like they're both getting better, which is crazy. And this isn't even like Sinner hasn't won Wimbledon, I'm pretty sure.
Yeah.
And now he's playing really well on a grass court, and I think they're just both going to continue to elevate. Um, I wanted to ask you, out of those three goats, just quickly, who is your goat?
Of course. Who do you think is the GOAT?
Oh, he's got to be Roger.
Roger.
Yeah, yeah,
Man, that guy's undefeated. He's the best player to ever play. Like regardless of number of titles, just he is ultimate class. I mean,
yes. That's what
he's
puts him. That's what sets him apart in my mind.
yeah, he's just like he
He floats above the court.
Novak is maybe the strongest mentally. Like even though they're all extremely strong mentally, like Novak is like this iron wall of Serbia. Like Rafa is like the most amped up and can kind of has this like best fight maybe like he
Power.
can just kind of like and then Roger was just like stone cold. Like I barely made a sound. Like early in his career he had a big problem with his attitude
Mm,
and was really emotional, and then he just kind of started quieting down, and he still says his stuff. Like the Roger fans love when he says come on, or he says something in Swiss German which is like Kumhetsa or something like
mm.
it's CHUM and then space JETZE. I'm not sure if that is like in German, but it's Swiss German.
Yeah. Jetzt means now, so maybe something about like come on now.
Yeah, come on now. Like he says that. I never knew that until I met a bigger fan of Roger than me. There's a lot of them out there. They're fanatics, but yeah, no, Roger is for sure. I don't know. That guy was his complete game and just something else. Like Carlos is the closest I've seen to him given his all around game. That's why I like Carlos because he's got the backhand, forehand, the drop shots. Like the drop shots is are crazy from Carlos.
Yeah,
Like
the control of the ball.
yeah.
I agree. It's Roger. He just has the swag, he has the class, he has the elegance, he has the mental edge. He's just so he's not bigger, stronger, faster than anyone, but he has an insane feel for the ball and is just always entertaining to watch and just wanted to be like him, still want to be like him. All right, well, we have a rematch of the French Open final. Let's look ahead to the match on Sunday. Who do you have winning?
Um, I would say Alcaraz just given the unless like the only thing that would stop Alcaraz is that he has a tendency to like literally get physical cramps.
Mm,
If he gets like stressed, it's really weird. It happened against Novak a few times or other people in past tournaments. It hasn't happened in a while, but I mean, he's got all the momentum for him. So I don't know, like me saying this doesn't mean anything like about the outcome, but that's just who I've like it seems like it's gonna be. He's he could three-peat. He's a strong player on grass. Sinner's had an easier walk to the final, but he's been less tested. He had
yeah.
two basically walkovers, and Dimitrov who was thrashing him, and then um,
Sheldon.
Novak today. Who was before that? Let me just double check.
I
But
think
yeah, I think and then given the recent French, he's in uh like Carlos is in this guy's head. So given the recent loss of the French Open, like I think it could go 5 sets, but in the end of the day, like I think yeah, I think Carlos got it. What about you?
I'm going with Carlos too because I have seen watching more Sinner matches. It just seems like he makes a couple more unforced errors than Carlos does. Um, and your point about when they last played and Carlos kind of being in his head after being down 2-0 and coming back to win the final. Um, I think that is an advantage for Carlos, but it might also, I mean, some of these guys tick differently. It might also make Yannick completely motivated to just bury this guy, and he's going to come out and play the best tennis that he has. I'm going Carlos, but I think it's a slight edge. Like today, we saw basically. I mean, okay, Fritz, I'll give him a bit more credit, but two kind of dominant matches,
Mm.
I think it's going to be much more even and a lot very entertaining on Sunday.
Yeah. I think Carlos is definitely not having a by any means like a dominant or perfect tournament, but he's obviously doing what he needs to win.
Yeah,
And it's still good on paper, it's like good scores. And Sinner, I mean, he's having that elbow issue, he's having some other stuff, and
yeah.
he could elevate his game in the final, but it's his first Wimbledon final. So if Carlos is like kind of like been there, done that, like I don't know. I mean, this could be nitpicking, but it's just like it's not a like it's not a one-to-one rematch. It's a rematch from the last final in French Open, but Carlos, like each player in the GOAT era had their like tournament that they were dominant in. Like Novak, I guess now he's been in so many Wimbledons, but his Australian Open was his, and
Mhm.
Roger had the Wimbledon, and Rafa, of course, French. But
Right. Yeah.
so it seems like Carlos is really has a hold for now on Wimbledon. So yeah, we'll see. Honestly, it'll be entertaining.
Yeah, it'll be cool. Quick shout out to the women's side. We have a final matchup that features two women who haven't been in the final yet. One of them, Iga Swiatek, who I got to see in Bad Homburg recently, which was cool. She's really good. And then an American woman. I hadn't even heard of this woman until this tournament, but Amanda Animasova, I believe I got that
Wow.
right. Hope I didn't get that wrong. Um, but she's I'd say she's like the underdog, and would love to see an American woman win this tournament. That'd be sweet. Um, so cool that the women have a new champion. Regardless of what happens, we're gonna have a sweet final on Sunday. Oh, I just want to also make sure that my annoyance with Sabalenka is documented
Yeah.
because I can't stand her antics, and
Yeah.
I'm trying to be less judgmental of other people. But there was a couple of times where she just wins a point and she's screaming, and I just blurt out like, "Shut the fuck up, man!" And it's like Wimbledon is like class and respect, and like you're there to celebrate the game, and she's just acting like such a self-centered like. I don't know. It made me angry a few times. I need to work on that. I understand. Um, but I was very happy that Amanda beat her. And yeah,
Yeah.
it's like also one quick thing. The announcers were like, "Oh my gosh, Sabalenka! Like she keeps her cool. Like you can never tell if she's ahead or if she's behind." It's like, yes, you can. She wears that shit on her sleeve.
Yeah.
Like she's like hand on her hip, like pouting after. Don't
She's
like
one of
her.
she's one of the most emotional players in the tour, so that's kind of funny they said that.
Yeah,
Obviously her comments about like Coco were pretty unwarranted. I don't know, they seem to have buried the hatchet. I don't understand sometimes when
PR.
certain players are popular on tour and certain aren't. I don't know if Iga Swiatek is popular. Apparently she's not very popular. I don't know. But she was number one for a while. Sabalenka seems to be popular despite her antics, which is very interesting. I guess like people, I guess the maybe tennis players are her peers are able to empathize with her given the fact that they all go through the same mental duress. So they say they can kind of see where she's coming from. But yeah, I'm with you. I'm not a fan. I do think that her team likes her a lot, and that's kind of sweet and so that's kind of redeeming where they all really tight and close together. But every time she loses, she tells them. I mean, it's a joke, but I don't know. It's just not my sense of humor or like camaraderie to say I want to fire all of you guys or something. She says that often, or she'll say like, "Sorry, you guys," but it's just she's a very emotional person, which honestly, like, it's a tough sport. But yeah, I think the American women have been strong for years and continue to be, which is awesome. Even if there's not one dominant one, which Coco seems to be like the leader for now. Like there's been Sloane Stevens or Madison Keys or, just even new people nowadays.
Pagula was playing well, and she lost in the first round.
Yeah, Navarro, I guess. These are all
Yeah.
people I've never even really followed much, but it seems like a strong. I think the American men need to catch up to the women, but they are doing it slowly. Um, but
Yep.
yeah, no, the women's side is going to be interesting for sure. It's very I think one unplanned comment is that
Right.
like it's very interesting to see the camaraderie. I mean the sportsmanship or how it manifests on the women's side versus the men's. I don't watch all the women's stuff, so I can't give like this can't be a generalized statement maybe, but like I mean when it's very rare in sports to see extreme rivals like in such a intense battle to be so like friendly or like sportsmanlike to one another, and like you see
Yeah.
that with a lot of the men these days, especially Yannick and Carlos when they battle each other, but anyone there, I mean, all the young guys love Novak because he's like their dad and they grew up watching him. So they're just happy to play him. But even any other guy, you don't really hear these comments against each other. Last time I remember some spicy stuff being said was Ben Shelton versus Novak when he first came into the scene. But that since then he's maybe the guy, the spiciest guy. But yeah, I mean, one could say it's boring, but it's also sweet. I don't know. They're just like very friendly and it's very interesting and like intriguing and baffling to see.
You're
Women's
saying,
side, it's
yeah, are
still
you gonna say the women is different? Go ahead.
yeah, that's all I'm gonna say, which is like women's side they still got that fire and like a lot of yeah, there's a lot of not sportsmanlike stuff. I mean Sabalenka and other people that drive it, maybe Iga. I'm not I'm saying this, I haven't seen this myself. I'm just saying this anecdotally. Like it seems like Iga, maybe I mean Sabalenka for sure and some other people. There's definitely some more bitter rivalries there. Yeah.
Yeah. I was thinking that today after Center won, and they're asking like, "Oh, you're playing Carlos in the final." It's so wholesome to hear these guys talk about it because it's like it's an honor to share the court with him. He's one of the best guys. Like we push each other. And it's like, damn, like we don't. Basketball is kind of skewing that way a little bit, but no, there's still like bad blood and all that. But I guess these guys travel the world together and like play each other, and they're handling their situations together. And I kind of think tennis just brings that out because like you warm up with your partner or with your opponent. Like you guys help each other get ready for the game. Like imagine playing soccer and like the two nations playing each other in the World Cup final or passing with one another. Like this doesn't add up. But yeah, Karan, thanks for chatting Wimbledon with me and tennis with me today. Let's hit the links. Let's hit the court soon. Yeah, good to see you
Let's get it done. Yeah. Take it easy. Bye.
for the time, man. Talk to you soon.